Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Robert Grant, and I am your host for this show called The Money Cure. All right. And so, just to kind of give you an idea of where this originated from, it has always been a passion of mine to do anything possible to relinquish, eradicate, and alleviate poverty. It's just something that I have always had a vendetta against for as long as I can remember. And, it's just about pure passion. It's just about pure vigor and finding ways to help not only myself, but for other people to get to a point to where they can flourish as it relates to their money and their prosperity. Because you look around the world, the country, and you see, so many people suffering from lack. And lack is something that just raises the hair on my skin at the end of the day when I think about it, because ultimately I stand for everything that is against lack. So just to kind of give you a little bit about me, I am a law of attraction specialist. I am a life coach. I also coach actors. I've been a fitness professional for a long time, and I also specialize in neuro-linguistic programming. There's a million other things that I could tell you I could do, but none of that really matters. All that truly matters is that I'm here to help you in any way that I can, and I'm just going to filter whatever comes out to you to share with you in hopes that you can use it to benefit your life, guys. Because ultimately, we weren't put on this earth to suffer and to struggle and to not have enough. We were here to be abundant. We were put here to be abundant. We're put here to flourish. We were put here to excel in such a way that we have more than enough to give to whoever we feel the need to. And so that is the truth, the first truth that I want you to get out of this podcast. And not only to get, but to accept and allow it to resonate, allow it to be at a point to where it will just move throughout your body, into your life in every area, but more importantly, in the area of finances. So to give you a little bit of background on me, I grew up in New Orleans, and I had some really, really intense struggles as it related to money. And so a lot of times your money blueprint, as we call it, is indicative of the environment that you were brought up in, the environment you were raised in. And so what oftentimes happens is you will mimic the financial attributes and the financial practices of your closest guardians, your closest, like your parents or your whoever you grew up with, and you will drag that into adulthood. And so now, if you grew up with wealthy parents or parents who had an idea of a prosperity consciousness, you should be golden right now. But if not, then you probably realized a lot of struggle within your life. And, that was me ultimately, like all the way up through my 20s. Just basically always wondering why there was never enough, why I was always lacking, why I was so great at so many other things, but money just didn't translate for some reason. And so as I dug deeper, I started to realize that it correlated a lot to what, my parents gave to me. More importantly, my mom. And God bless her heart, she did the very best that she could. But ultimately, her saying money doesn't grow on trees, or I don't have that kind of money, or we can't afford that. Those are the things that I picked up and brought into the world. And when I tell you I struggled so much because I just didn't understand how, it was possible, what was going wrong. But the truth of the matter is my subconscious programming was just guiding me to repeat those patterns. And so it didn't really come to light, or I didn't really get a chance to really move in a positive direction until I just got angry about it, until I got so passionate. And I wrote this book, Prosperity Secrets, How to Live the Life of Your Dreams, which is available on my website at www.shaungrant.com, ShaunGrant.com. You can actually pick up a copy of that. I wanted to write about everything that I had learned. I wanted to write about everything that I feel like could help other people who were in that same position, who were brought up in that same atmosphere and environment of thinking that they were not capable. I wanted to change that. And so only when I became passionate did I start to see things change. And so, there was definitely struggle, because when you're combating programs that have run your entire life, you come up against some really tough experiences. But at the same time, it was worth it. It was worth it in every aspect that I can remember, that I can recall. And so I just continue to build every single day on that, and so ultimately, you have to ask yourself, where am I and where do I want to go eventually? And I feel like the most important part as it relates to money, as it relates to you prospering, you have to get rid of stress, fear, and worry around money. And, once I got to a point to where I could trust, and you'll hear me say this a lot as we go along this podcast, when I would trust in the universe, in God, to provide everything that I needed. I had I like to call them the divine downloads. I had a divine download not long ago. And it basically happened while I was out on the beach in the morning, meditating, looking up at the moon, looking up at the stars. And it was almost just like, if I can create this, if I can create something this massive and this majestic, why can't I give you abundance? Because abundance is freely yours. Abundance is yours for the taking. You just have to receive it and attune to it. And it basically just blew my mind, because things get hard because we make it hard. We expect it to be hard. Today, I want to change your mindset from expecting it to be hard, to struggle in order to get money, to know that it will come easily. And the first thing you got to do is, one, get rid of the fear, get rid of the worry. And how do we do that? We do that by just being mindful. We do that by, in this moment, breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth, as deeply as possible, giving thanks. That's the next step, the gratitude, giving thanks for everything that we have in this moment, and just getting to a pure state of relaxation. It doesn't matter what your bank account says. It doesn't matter what bills that have to be paid. It doesn't matter, how much money you have in your pocket. All of that does not matter. That's just physical. What you'll understand is, because everything is energy, because everything is of the energetic capacity, it is subject to change. So you can have $2 in your account right now, and then 4 hours later you'll have $2,000, just because the universe can work that way when you're putting the right thought and you're putting the right vibration into the things that you want to manifest. But before I get ahead of myself, what I want you to focus on is just living moment to moment. That was the biggest thing for me to realize in order for me to maximize my ability to generate more income, to generate more financial freedom, was to understand that it wasn't about the money. It was more about the inner state that I was creating moment after moment. And the best way to create the inner state that you want, that will be conducive to opportunity, to finances, to income, is to, one, be at peace, be completely relaxed. The other is just to do things you feel good about. Do stuff you feel good about. Do stuff that's going to elevate your state of being, your vibration. Don't succumb to anything that will drag you down, make you feel negative, make you feel less than the superstar, the wonderful person that I know that you are. Anything that does that, run as far away from it as possible, because ultimately you just want to feel good. And you don't have to even exude so much energy because universal energy is everywhere. You just want to embody it. And once again, you do that by focusing on your breathing. So if you're into yoga, meditation, things like that, that's terrific. Keep up with that. But realize those are the states that you want to be in, because that is a state you'll find that you're most receptive to every blessing that God and the universe has for you. Okay? So that's how you will get rid of the fear. That's how you will get rid of the worry. All right? The next thing is have a passion. Have a passion. Like, the great thing about passion is you become this proverbial wrecking ball that will just power through anything that steps in your way. And when you just really start to feel the magnitude of that, there is nothing that can stop you. There's absolutely nothing that can stop you. So if you're like me, you've grown up literally just wondering. So I've been able to attend some of the best schools ever, and I went with a lot of like wealthy kids, and I would see them do all types of things, and then I would go home and ask my mom, well, is there any way I can do that? And she's like, no, we don't have the money. And so that burned me up inside completely. I mean, I would never say anything about it, but it put me into a space of wondering, well, am I worthy enough? Well, is it possible for me, everything that I see that's happening to these other people? And so it created a bit of self-doubt in a sense that I had to say, well, why does that person have it and why do I don't? And so when you start to think like that, what happens is you start to get ideas as to how to fix it. And so that was something that I thought about, like I said, well into my 20s. And the revelation that I got was it's all in the way you think. It's all in the way that you vibrate. It's all in how much you love yourself and feel deserving. So that is something that has to happen in order for things to transform themselves from a financial perspective, because ultimately it's all spirit. That's all money is. Money is spiritual energy that is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself on the inside. We put the value on it so it becomes something that's greater than what it is, but ultimately it's all about energy. And if you really want to prosper, the main thing you do is, like I said, find things that you feel good. And the things that you feel good about are usually the passions that are tied into your life purpose, that are tied into making you basically just want to wake up, jump out of bed, and do this to the very best of your ability. When you really connect with the power of that thing, you will see that it will create income for yourself. And the main thing is just to remember to be patient. Like, if you've been fighting struggle for like 20 years, don't get upset because something doesn't happen right away. Like, in some cases it will, but in other cases it'll take time. But enjoy the process, because what you're doing is completely like a complete metamorphosis of the life that you've been living, right? And so you'll start to see, because from the inside everything feels better. And that was the first shift that I had, was from the inside. It made me become available to everything that was the exact opposite of fear, stress, and worry. And I just felt like the complete wealthiest person in the world, because I just didn't fear. I didn't fear anything anymore. Like, to give you an example, some of the closest people I were around growing up, I think, contributed to a lot of the money problems that I had. Like, even like, people would just basically, and excuse my French, would tell me I wasn't shit. And like, why do I have so many problems? I've never been this. I've never been that. And, they, of course, mean it in a good way. But at the same time, like, it still hurt your feelings. And not only does it hurt your feelings, it makes you worry about if you're ever going to get to that point. Where I'm here to tell you, you will get to that point. You stick with it. You know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I like to do? Anytime somebody tells me I won't be something, or tells me that I am synonymous with a problem that I know I'm not, because you're not synonymous to struggle or anything like that. You are just experiencing that because within the greatest obstacle lies the most amazing opportunity to be the very best version of yourself. Okay, never forget that. So just because you struggle doesn't mean you're a person of struggle. You are just finding ways to overcome and evolve into a place where you will be so freaking fantastic that you will be an inspiration to everybody till you come in contact with. And then if you really, really start to feel it, you'll get like me. You want to share a podcast to help people out. Okay, so understand that none of this stuff is of you. Don't ever get into those identity labels and like, because people, when they don't understand something, the first thing they do is try to label it. They try to label it. So if anybody tries to call you poor, reject that shit as much as possible. Do not believe it. Do not let someone tell you just because your bank account is a certain way, you are this or you are that. Know in your heart that you are always wealthy. You're always abundant because that is your divine birthright. That is what you've been given to flourish on this earth. It's like one of my favorite Bible scriptures, consider the lilies and the sparrows, how God feeds them. These are plants and animals, and we're supposed to be his greatest creation. Why wouldn't he give us every single thing that we need and then some? You got to really think about stuff like that, because that will help in transforming your perspective on how you see things, right? So with all this comes a shift in consciousness that lets you know deep down. And you like to use the word resonate, because resonate talks about how it comes from your soul. When it starts to resonate with you, what you will find is things in your life will begin to change. Money will begin to flow. Money will open itself up to you in order to for you to have more of it, because if you got more of it, then you can help more of the world. That's what it comes down to, is evolving, getting more so you can give more, because ultimately we're just giving back to everyone else that needs to go through the same things that we have gone through. So your struggle is your greatest testimony. Don't be downtrodden. Don't give up. Don't feel like, like I said, there are times when you will go through where it seems like nobody is in your corner, when you're all alone. I've been there. That's when you got to push through the most. That's when you got to just take it with a grain of salt and say, well, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep grinding. Eventually, I'm going to see light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to see this thing through to where I can look back and say, wow, I really was strong enough to go through this. I really made it through, and I'm going to be an example to show to other people. And just stay with that mindset. Stay with that mindset. I promise you, if you stay with that mindset, you will prosper beyond your wildest dreams. And you know what the greatest thing is? One of the greatest paradoxes is, it's not even about money. At the end of the day, it's not even about money. It's about happiness. It's about love. It's about peace. It's about living the life you want. More importantly, it's about the freedom to do whatever your heart desires. And from there, that's when all this money will show up. That's when all these opportunities will present themselves. That's when people will look at you and say, wow, you have this aura about you that I just want to get to know you. I want to share my life and my experiences with you. It will be such a magnetic thing for so many others, because you are a living embodiment of what happens when you commit, when you're passionate about overcoming something that trips up so many people, breaks up so many marriages, puts people in position to feel like they will never be worthy of anything. You decided that you were going to overcome it. You were going to be in a place to where you could fulfill your dreams of basically having as much, not only financial prosperity, but prosperity in general. You're just evolving, you're growing, you're on a different level, you're on a high level of vibration, and it just becomes infectious. It becomes something that the world wants to see, the world wants to have, and it opens up so many possibilities. So before I go, I want to leave this with you. This is something that I just want you to really dwell on until we meet again, is think about everywhere in your life where there's fear, where there's worry, where there's doubt, where there's, uncertainty, and replace it. Replace it with faith, replace it with trust, replace it with peace. And what I want you to do is just be happy about where you are right now. Just be happy about where you're going. Just be happy with the idea that possibilities are endless. Just be happy that you can do absolutely anything to move you closer to your purpose, to your passion, to your highest aspiration. Just know that at the end of the day, nothing can stop you. Nothing will stop you. As long as you have a clear vision and a clear passion of what it is you desire, money or anything else, you will get there. Guys, thanks so much for joining me on the very first episode of The Money Cure, giving you the prosperity you want. Hope you'll join me soon again. Other than that, check out my book if you get a chance, www.seangrant.com. Prosperity Secrets, How to Live the Life of Your Dreams. Other than that, I am, like I said, going to do my very best to make sure that you can turn your financial world around. And even if you're doing well, we're going to take you up a notch because I'm going to be sharing a lot of great things with you. Other than that, have a wonderful Thursday, guys. Take care. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much.